Let's get started. We've got a packed session ahead, and let me start sharing the agenda. So here we go. So this is the agenda for today. Small introduction. We're Rojo Integrations. We're a company based out of the Netherlands, also offices in Spain and in India. And today, together with my colleague Shashank, we'll be presenting the third-party connectivity. And what we do is we'll explain a little bit about the difference in adapters versus other ways to connect. And we'll show also, we have a demo of some of the functionality that we developed for SAP. And Shashank will demo that later on. So who we are as a company. So Rojo Integrations, as I said, we're based out of the Netherlands and also locations in Spain and in India. We've been around in the integration space since 2011, and all the colleagues and everybody in the company is focused on integration. And integration, we mean the iPaaS platforms, the integration platforms, but also adjacent technologies like Solas or Confluent Kafka. And in this space, as we build adapters for SAP, we also collaborate with the likes of Coupa and other vendors that provide us with systems to build this connectivity and the integration content. So how we organize as a company. So what you see here is the consultancy, software and managed services. That's how the company is made up. These are the three lines of businesses. Consultancy speaks for itself. We do help customers implementing integration technologies, but also optimizing it and help them with all sorts of work that needs to be done in the integration domain. With software, and that's part of today's topic, we built the adapters and we built our own products. And Shashank will demo the adapters today, which we have in the portfolio. And managed services is basically the support we offer to customers if they need help in supporting their integration needs. And we can offer 24/7. So for example, we also offer this support to SAP in a third line capability. And below you see the green highlighted augmented integrator. It's good to highlight this because since we have a lot of knowledge and expertise in the integration domain, we have brought all this knowledge and data and expertise together in an agent to support our lines of businesses. So we augment our employees with AI and it helps them in their daily work. But this agent can also be applied to our customers, supporting them with our specific integration challenges and building integrations or understanding integration behavior. So for example, support business users in understanding where his or her request is in the process. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. And who we are as a company, what is it that makes us a specialist in SAP? What you see here are the official SAP training manuals. These have been written by our colleagues. And what we do is that we'll not only write those books, but we also train customers with the help of using cloud integration. And if you look a bit to the right, you can also see we've been doing this for a long time because we also wrote the official books for SAP PO process orchestration. So we've been around in this business for 11 years as a company, but the colleagues span experiences way beyond the existence of the company. And this is why we are partner strategic to SAP, which Shashank, my colleague, will take over from here, and he will share what we do within the third-party connectivity within SAP. So over to you, Shashank.
Thanks, Hugo. Welcome everyone again. My name is Shashank, and yeah, working in the integration landscape since quite a while now. I'll also very quickly share my screen. So today, the idea and the focus is on the third-party connectivity option that SAP has provided And I think you might have been noticing this in last year or so, the integration suite have been getting a lot of new adapters. So we are going to focus on that today. We will be showing you the new set of adapters that we have recently added, the roadmap, what is coming next in next couple of years. So all of that is the agenda of today. Before we deep dive into the SAP Integration Suite and the third-party connectivity, just high-level overview of what we do as Rojo integration as well. So BTP, of course, have multiple offerings that they have. We primarily operate in majority of them, primarily related to the integration scenario. So you see cloud integration, which is in green. So we have, as Hugo also highlighted, we have a lot of practices around that. We do a lot of event-driven scenarios as well. So advanced event mesh or any other third-party event-driven architecture. We are also working in a lot of governance related things. So we do work with different customers when it comes to setting up the best practices, creating governance around their whole integration landscape. We do help with migration assessment as well. And actually we do run a lot of migration projects, which are for converting your PO scenarios to your cloud integration. Today, the focus is on the third-party connectivity, which you see on the top right corner, where we have a lot of third-party connected apps and the adapters that are available now within the SAP Integration Suite. Before we understand these applications, let's first talk about the challenges that any other integration consultant generally faces when they're integrating with such an application. Yeah. So if let's say there's a requirement for you, you have to connect to an application A. The first thing that you need to understand is that what are the different integration capabilities that this application provides here. That requires a lot of investigation because each of these applications have their own set of integration capabilities. Yeah, some of them uses REST APIs, some of them have SOAP endpoints, some of them uses SDKs, for example, and each of these different mechanisms have their own ways of integrating. So the first step for any integration consultant would be to understand this integration capabilities for any application, understand the application specific nuances, and then start building on top of it. Yeah. This initial setup itself takes quite a time. It's time consuming activity. And of course, you have to start from scratch for any new application that you need to build on top of. So this is one of the most common challenge that any other integration consultant would have when they are going to integrate with any other application, third-party application. Once they have this understanding, of course, then you start with the data transformation. You need to understand the structure that these applications support. You have to create those structures, get the structures first of all, and then start the transformation based on your requirement. And a lot of these applications also have very specific nuances. Oh, sorry, coming back to the right side. Yes, a lot of these applications have very specific nuances. Yeah, for example, if I talk about Salesforce, they have a mechanism in order to cache token, and there are limited number of login items that you can do. Therefore, you have to manage that type of nuance as well. If I take Anaplan as an example, Anaplan has a chunking concept because when you're uploading a file or downloading the file, they require you to do in a very specific manner. So you have to have those application specific nuances built within your integration flow, and all of that would be a custom implementation if you are doing it, let's say with an HTTP adapter or let's say with an open connector, for instance. And of course, with all of this, once the adapter is built, the whole integration scenario is built and it is working fine, then it comes the maintenance part of it. Because all these applications sometimes upgrade their API versions, they change the structures sometimes, and all of this have to be maintained and done manually. So of course, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to third-party integration. But as I was talking about earlier, SAP has recently introduced a lot of application-specific adapters which are coming out of the box within the integration suite for you to overcome these challenges. Yeah. So of course, if you're using integration suite, you would already see these adapters coming in the adapter list. So these are coming out of the box. You don't need to download it from some other place. It's coming directly from your business accelerator hub into your own landscape. So when you select these adapters, it will be automatically absorbed in your tenant and then be deployed at the same time as well. So these are the out of the box connectivity options that SAP is providing. Of course, with these out of the box solution, you can already imagine if all the challenges that I've talked about have been kind of handled within these adapters. So for example, the token caching that I was talking about Salesforce, the chunking concept of Anaplan, and all the other concepts that are possibly linked to a specific application are being managed within these adapters, which eventually helps you to reduce the development time, because now you're focusing more on the business requirement rather than understanding the technical concepts or the technical understanding of that specific application. So you're spending your energy at the right place. Of course, the development time is reduced, your time to market is always faster, yeah, and your whole development cycle becomes smaller. And of course, there are other advantages. The maintenance comes completely towards SAP, because these are the adapters which are maintained by SAP. So if there's a change in any application specific endpoints, all of these changes are being managed and being supported within the integration suite. So you will be seeing that all these adapters are getting very frequent updates based on the feature requests, based on the changes in the API versions and all of that. So SAP maintains these adapters and regularly update them based on the standards that these application changes. And yeah, as I mentioned, the faster time to market. So you will have your solutions being developed quickly and then going to the production in a quick time. So today we are going to deep dive into these SAP adapter, how you're going to find them in your integration suite. And if you find them, how are going to effectively use these adapters for your integration scenarios here. Before we go in that direction, before we actually see how these adapters can be consumed, I just want to also maybe tap on a fact that how, if you're creating your own custom solution, what are the different other challenges that you can come. So this is a very high level comparison that you see on your screen right now. On the right hand side, you have this HTTP adapter equivalent. Let's say you're trying to connect to a specific application which have their own authentication mechanism. They have a concept of, let's say, a refresh token. And if I talk about AWS has their own signing concept as well. So if you are doing such operations using an HTTP adapter, you can imagine you have to do these steps as a prerequisite. In your Groovy script, for example, you have to create that whole code, maintain it. But if you compare it to the left-hand side, which is the adapter, which is application-specific adapter, all of this is abstracted within the application, within the adapter itself. So all of these is application nuances, be it custom authentication types, be it specific signing that the application needs, all of that is done within the application adapter. And for you, it would be just a configuration that you need to choose. For example, you need to provide your credentials, your instance URL, your versions that you want to interact, your operations, and then all the heavy lifting is done by the adapter internally. Let's look at some timelines that would give you a context of how beneficial these adapters are. So right now we are comparing HTTP adapter or application specific adapter. So generally, if you are using an HTTP connector, in order to do this, it's completely a manual activity that you need to do. You need to understand, as I mentioned, understand the whole application capabilities, their APIs, endpoints, and everything, and you have to kind of do it from scratch. The adapters comes with a pre-configured list of operations, the API version. So for as a consultant, it's easier for you to choose the right operation, and then it's just a configuration that you need to provide with the right payload. The development time reduces drastically. Of course, if you are doing this whole research yourself, it can take somewhere from within a week to, let's say, a couple of weeks, which is reduced down to few days actually. Error handling is also very much important to understand, because when you're dealing with HTTP, it's a plain technical protocol. It doesn't have any application specific nuances handling. But when it comes to adapter, it of course handles the errors according to the application. So it understands the application errors and accordingly kind of reflect the same thing in the message monitor. Any new changes in the APIs have to be managed manually. With respect to the adapters, it is being managed by the SAP frequent updates that happens. If there's any change or any feature required, SAP do provide support. If there's any changes in the application behavior as well, in that case as well, if you want to reach, you can reach out to SAP for those applications. Which on the other hand, if you're using HTTP, it's just limited to the HTTP functionality support. So any application specific nuances have to be dealt internally. The adapter comes with a specific documentation, so it will give you a very detailed documentation of how to configure the adapter for specific scenarios. So it comes with all these details, and it also comes with application related information. For example, how you want to how you can create accounts within your application, how the configurations can be extracted from the application and used in the adapter. So all of that is very much well explained in the documentation that comes along. The testing, of course, these adapters are tested with all the possible operations that are available in the specific application. Therefore, you can right away use it. You don't need to spend time validating the operations that are available in your scenarios. So these are very high level overview of how the differences. So this can already give you clarity. If you're using an application specific adapter, that already reduces your time of development, testing, and a lot of other areas very drastically to a very low time. Of course, a lot of customers also use open connectors, yeah, which also comes with a preloaded set of connectors through which you can also connect to an external application. Of course, that gives some sort of help because it's also kind of abstracting a lot of information. But of course, if these application adapters are already inbuilt of cloud integration, you can imagine that, which you see on the right hand side, that your connectivity is happening between and within the cloud integration. So you're not jumping between networks. So it's not going outside cloud integration to be able to connect to a third party. Is directly actually connecting your cloud integration to your third party application. So it's more secure. Also, you are kind of removing one extra hop from the network. And also these application specific adapters that SAP is introducing recently are more closer to the actual application setup. So you will see a difference if you compare an open connector equivalent to the application specific adapter, which is present within cloud integration. You would see the difference in terms of how the operations are being managed within the SAP adapters. So that way it's easier and more clear for the consultants to be able to use these application specific adapter from within the cloud integration. Now, talking about both the HTTP and the open connector, you can already imagine if you have an application that you want to connect and if there's an application adapter available for you, the most easy and the most favorable way for anyone would be to use application specific adapter going further. And this is a thing that SAP is going to continue, that we are going to introduce more and more adapters. This is a high level overview of the roadmap that we do have. The ones that you see on green are already released. This is a subset of the application. Of course, the list is quite big. I think there are roughly more than 30 different application specific adapter that SAP have released in last couple of years. And this list is even getting bigger. And we are adding more and more third-party connectivity options. A lot of these applications that have been released recently were Anaplan. We have an AI adapter that was released. We have a lot of Google family related adapters that we have released, which were Google BigQuery, Google PubSub, cloud storage, SMB for a lot of file related scenarios. A lot of people are migrating from PO to CIS currently, and SMB is helping them to migrate their file based scenarios. Same goes for IBM MQ as well, because a lot of people who are migrating from PO to CI are using the IBM MQ adapter in CI for them to be able to migrate the particular interfaces. And in future, of course, there's a lot of new set of adapters that are planned. So I think in a couple of week time, you will have Bamboo HR that is going to be live, Zendesk adapter, which is going to help you to connect to this Zendesk IT SM tool. We have Turio adapter that is going to be coming live in next couple of months. So the list is huge and it's getting bigger and bigger every month. Now I wanted to show you very quickly how you can access and how you can check how these adapters are coming. So let me stop sharing my screen and I'll share my other screen, which is where I will show you the adapters. So there are a couple of ways that you can use in order to consume these application specific adapters within your integration landscape. And I'm sharing my other screen now. I'll also turn it on here. Yes. So I'm right now into an integration iFlow, and I'm just dragging a normal adapter connector list. And in this case, you will see all the different possible adapters that are available. So you would be familiar with, for example, Box, Coupa, DocuSign, Dropbox. I was also talking about Google family adapters, which is Google BigQuery, Cloud Storage, PubSub, HubSpot, IBM MQ. Linux, a lot of Microsoft related adapters, MongoDB. So all these application specific adapter, you have been noticing that this list is getting bigger and bigger every day. So one way to consume these adapter is by just selecting the adapter from here. If the adapter is not yet available in your landscape, when you select the adapter from this list, it will automatically be copied from the Business Accelerator Hub into your tenant. So there would be a message that you would see in your pop-up that the integration content is being copied, and also it will be getting deployed at the same time. So the content would be consumed as well as deployed in your integration artifact, and you would be able to directly use the adapter. That is one way. But if you also want to search about different other application adapters, you can go to the Discover tab and then search for the adapters here. So if I want to, for example, connect with SMB adapter, I want to see if that is available, I can search for it. And then when I select it, it gives me an option to copy the content into my landscape. So all these adapters, as I mentioned, are coming from SAP, so you can directly consume it. It's available out of the box as part of Integration Suite license, and you would be able to copy them and then start using them into your landscape. So these are two different ways to be able to consume these adapters. And the list that I was showing you is in the different adapters, and you will see them coming in the changelog. And also SAP has a roadmap for these adapters. You can also look at that in order to see if any new adapter that you want to consume is already planned in the roadmap. If not, you can also influence this by providing your feedback on the influence link that SAP has. So you can also provide your feedback. If you want a specific adapter, you can put your comments there. Let me stop sharing my screen and I'll share my screen again with the presentation. I think you should be able to see my presentation again. And yeah, these are the two options that I showed you. So first from the integration flow, so you can just select the adapter and then you'll see all the adapters that are coming. So you can select them. The other option was to search it from the Discover tab, which is the Business Accelerator Hub. So SAP, as I mentioned, have been heavily investing to create these adapters, but it's not just limited to that. We are also working very closely with SAP in the space of integration content as well, because of course, with adapters, your lifecycle of development is small, but it would be even smaller if you have the pre-packaged content available for that application already. Yeah. So having the templates coming from the Discover tab where you can use them in order to build on top of it or just customize it and then use it directly. Yeah. So we work very closely in the space of integration content as well. And we have created a lot of content in this space. For everyone who don't know integration content, these are the pre-packaged content that SAP provides, which already have all the transformation, all the mapping that you would need to be able to interact with a specific application and perform a business case. It could be a procure to pay example, order to cash, any business scenarios that you would have. These content packages come pre-configured, and it, as a customer, if the requirements are very straightforward, as in you maybe can directly use these prepackaged content. If not, if you have some customization, you can of course customize on top of it and then start using it as well. With integration content, of course, it even reduces the time drastically. So you have faster time to market. The solutions are more standard because they are built by the standard best practices of SAP. So they are more standard. And of course, the implementation time and the risk are reduced very drastically. I'm jumping one screen ahead here. I think this is one thing that I wanted to show you, which is about the KPIs that we have registered. So if, for example, if you're using the adapter, but then you're building your own integration content, with respect to if you're using the integration content or the prepackaged content provided by Rojo or by SAP, in that case, the times changes drastically. Yeah. So it could come from months to weeks. So if let's say if I take let's say a very basic procure to pay example or order to cash example, the implementation cycle sometime lasts for months. Yeah, 6 months roughly. But if you use a prepackaged content, it can be brought down to weeks, 4 weeks, for example, here. The cost of ownership of these integrations are quite less, so 60% reduction in that. Of course, these comes with the prepackaged adapters, so the out-of-the-box connectivity. Therefore, the content is already in conforming to the latest and the best practices of SAP. And it's, as I mentioned, because these are built with respect to the SAP best practices, they are always SAP compliant. So you always follow the best practices in order to have these integration content. So we do have from Rojo side as well, a lot of interfaces, a lot of integration content that we do, and they are actually available in the Business Accelerator Hub for you to see. So we have a lot of integration scenario that helps you to integrate with Signavio, with Workday, with Coupa, with ServiceNow, and with Salesforce. So these content are already available in the Accelerator Hub for you to be able to consume and build on top of it. I think that was it on our side for today's session. I think let's go to the Q&A.
There's one question there on whether it's available basic, standard, or premium, the Integrate Suite licenses. I think they are available on standard and premium.
Yeah, that is right. So I'm just looking at the yeah, so the adapter is available only for the standard and above, so standard and premium.
And with that, if there are no further questions, if something comes to your mind, please reach out to us on hello@rojoconsultancy.com. You can reach out, and we'll be happy to support you with any of the questions you have. And would like to thank you for your time today. And have a good day or evening to wherever you are. Thanks for attending.